Okay, yeah, so we're going to do a bit about factorization methods that you learn in grade 7 and 8, okay? So factors, here's an example. What are the factors of 36? Okay, so what numbers, when you multiply them, my tablet's not great, so my writing's not great, so I just have to put up with that till I get a new tablet. Okay, so what are the factors of 36? You've got 1 times 36, yes. 2 times 18. What's the next one? Times 12. Okay. Let them in. Okay, 19. All right. Okay, 3 12s are 36. 4 times 9. 4 9s are 36. And one more. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay. So if I want to write out the factors, we just pick out all the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, and 18 and 36. So you'd basically just write them out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9. Let me know if I miss any. 6, 9, 12, 18, 36. Okay. When you see the word divisible, that means that two numbers can be divided and you get no remainder. So for example, 36 on 9 is 4. Okay, there's no remainder here. Okay, no remainder. That means that 36 is divisible by 9. And 36 is also divisible by 4. Okay. Talk a lot, so get dry. Okay, so those are factors. So what if I said, what is the prime factorization of 36? Okay, so what you should do here, what I should do is erase this part so I have space. Back to draw. Okay, so do you remember making a factor tree? When you have 36 and we break 36 down into their factors. So we can start with anything. What about 3 times 12? Okay, 3 times 12 is 36. 3 is the prime number. Okay, so remember your prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, what's that, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, like. So these are your prime numbers. So we tried to break 36 down into prime numbers. So 3 is prime, so we stop here. 12 is not prime because 3 times 4 is 12. And then we break down 4 again to 2 by 2. Okay, so we can see that 36 is the product of these numbers here, which are 3, 3, then 4 is broken down into 2 and 2. Okay, so we'll have 3 times 3 times 2 times 2, which is 3 squared times 2 squared. So we basically just break our number 36 down into product of prime numbers. So 3 squared times 2 squared, and you can multiply that, you can check it yourself, okay? Okay, distributive property. You probably know how to use this already. but maybe you don't remember the name. Distribute means to hand out. So distribute means we distribute the A into B and into C. So if you expand this, you'll get A times B and then A times C, which we have here. So for example, if you had 3 times 4 plus 3 times 2, you see here, you have a common number. That's your common factor, okay, 3. So that is the number like A here that we take out. So you put 3 in the front, and then we take out, well, we took 3 out, but then we are left with what? 4 plus 2, and that goes in here, okay? So if you multiply that, 4 plus 2 is 6, 3 6s are 18. And the same as if you did it this way. 3 4s are 12, plus 3 2s are 6, which is also 18, okay? So 3 here is called your common factor. So 3 times 4, 12, 3 times 2, 6, and 2 plus 6 is 18, same thing. So probably you learned this, I would say, in grade 7. So use the distributive property to factor. Factor is a common word in American books. You may see factorize, like factorize, or maybe this is spelled with a Z. So American spelling, we use Z. I usually use Z because whenever I use S, Word always tells me to fix it, and I got tired of it, so I just leave it as Z now. But you may see me using S sometimes. Okay, so what we want to do here is to factorize 12mn plus 80m squared. So you break down the numbers into their prime factors, or as far as you can go. And we know 12 is 2 times 2 times 3, or it's already written here, so let's use that. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. That dot there means multiply. So it stops you getting confused between multiply and the x variable. So many books will just use a dot for multiplication. So 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. M times n is mn. Now 80 is 2, 2, 2, 2, which is 16, times 5, which is 80. Okay, so you may need to do a tree if you need to factorize a big number like this. And m squared is m times n. Now the greatest common factor, let's erase that out. What we do, we look for numbers that are the same. So we've got 2, which is this one here. We have another 2, which is common. We look for the common numbers. We have 2 here, so I write it there. And you see there's no 3 in this one. We have 3 here, but there's no more 3s in this one. So we don't include the 3. We have m, which is common here. And the last one is n and m, so that's not common. Okay, so the m is written here. So 2, 2. Why do we have, oh, that one must be error. Did you see that? That one, not there. My typing error. So we've got 2, 2, and m. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4m. That is the number you take out the front here. So we've got 12mn. We break it down to 4m, 3n. So 4 3s are 12. mn is mn. It's probably quite hard at 8 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? So 4m, and then 20m is left over. Okay, so 4 times 20 is 80m squared. So your common factor here is 4m. So we take the 4m out the front here, and what we're left with is 3n plus 20m here. Okay, so we'll do some. These are our examples to get you going, and then I'll give you time to do some questions yourself, and then we can review some answers. Okay, so we want to factorize c squared plus cb. So if you have your tablet, you can write your solutions as we're doing these, because I'll scroll up the screen and you'll lose the example. Okay, so if you look here, we've got c times c is c squared, and this is c times b. So your common factor here is c. See that? So we take c out the front. This number comes out the front, and we are left with c plus b. Okay, when you get good at this, you don't need to multiply these out into factors. Okay, you can just look. So for example, this one, we see we've got 3. So we've got 3 times x, and 9 is what? 3 times 3 times x times y. So let's use a highlighter. So we can see we have 3 here, x here, x here, and no more that's the same. Okay, so that means that 3x is your common factor. So we write it in the front like that, okay? And then what are you left with? You're left with x here, the minus sign, and we are left with these two numbers, 3y, like that. So if you want to check your answer, 3x times x, 3x squared, 3x times 3y minus 9xy, which is the same. Okay, so when you do these, if it's a big problem, you may want to multiply these numbers out. Okay. How about this one? There's a couple of ways to do this. Probably the easiest way at the start is just to multiply out your bracket first. So d times x, dx, d times minus y, minus dy, and then minus d squared. So if you look here, you're going to have a common factor d. This has 2 d's. D squared is d times d. Okay, like that. So here it looks like d is your common factor. So take d out, you're left with x minus y minus d. Okay, so dx, dy, and d squared. So this looks the correct answer here. There's no more common factors in here. Okay, so if you're copying them, you probably need to do that as I'm teaching it. Okay, I'll move up a bit. How about this one? You've got 8, 16. So you don't have to break this to your prime factor, because we know 16 is 2 times 8, and x cubed, I just write x cubed, and 8, x squared. So if you look here, we have 8 as a common factor. So 8 must come out the front. But then we have x cubed and x squared. When you have 2 powers like this, take the smaller one out, x squared, not the bigger one. So take out the part that has the smaller power, so x squared. So what would you be left with? You took out 8 and you took out x squared from here. So you must be left with 2x. So 2 times 8, 16. X squared times x is x cubed. So remember your rule. X, what should we write? xm times xn is, do you remember this from grade 8? xm plus n. So when you multiply 2 terms with powers like this, we add, not multiply. Don't multiply these powers, okay? So that would be, there's a 1 here, which we don't usually write. So x2 times x1 is x cubed. And then you see what happened? We took the whole term out now. 8x cubed, 8x squared, 8x squared. So you just write 1 there. So 8x squared times this will give 16x cubed. 8x squared times minus 1 minus 8x squared. All right, so let's clean that. So you'll get to work in a minute. I'm nearly done. So take a look at this one. So look at your numbers first. 2, 3, 4. There's no common factor here. Okay, if you had 4, okay, 2 is a common factor, but we've got 2, 3, 4. So there's no common factor for the number. Now look at your letters. We've got a squared, a. So a will be a common factor. B, but there's no b here. Okay, so b is not a common factor. And check for c. C, but here there is no c. So c is not common either. And d is only here. So d is not common. So the only common factor here is a. Okay, so what are you left with? 2a. You took out an a, so this a squared will become a, because a times a is a squared. You are left with a b minus, the 3 didn't come out, that's not common, but you took the a out. So this a is already moved to the front, so that's gone. Then you're left with b squared c, like that. 4 is still here, and a has come out, so that's gone, and you're left with cd like that. So then just when you're finished, you can expand it and check it's correct, and then just look for any factor that you may have missed. But this looks okay. All right. How about question F? 2a cubed. I'll write it here again. 4a squared y. So take a look. You've got 2 and you have 4. So what is the common factor? 2. You've got a cubed and you have a squared. So your common factor here would be a squared. So take out the letter with the lower power, a squared. You would be left with only a here, a1. So a squared times a is a cubed. Remember, add the powers, add them, minus, you took out a 2, so you must be left with 2 here. 2 2s are 4. Okay, and then a squared is gone completely because it's in the front, and you're just left with y. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, no problem. If you don't speak, I assume you understand. So, okay, got that? I'm filming it anyway, so I'll put the video up into YouTube and I'll make it a private video or something. I need to move your picture out the way. Okay, I'm not looking at you now, so I can't see anyone. So hopefully you're working okay. Okay, these are your exercises. I put it like this into a block because if you need to write these on paper, you're going to need space. And if I space them out, you won't see the questions. Okay, so I think for these ones, you'll be okay. But when you look at M, you've got x2n. I'll probably help you with this a little bit, but I want you to think about how you're going to factorize this n. Now, x2n, there is a rule, x mn can be written as xm n. Okay, so think about how you're going to factorize this using this idea here. So I think you may be quite fast with these ones, but then I want you to think about these later ones here for a while. Okay, so I'll leave it on the screen. You can do your working down here. Okay, if you have your tablet, just do the calculations down here. I'm not going to mark this work. Okay, this is for you to practice, and when you're finished, we can go through some answers. Okay, we don't have to do every question, but we'll review some answers. All right. So if you want help for the first question, whoops. Question A. So you've got 9x squared minus 3x. Think about your common factor. You've got a 9, which is 3 times 3 times x times x. You don't have to do all this working. If you're quick at this, you can just do in your head, and 3x. So look for your common factor, which is 3, x, x. So we try to match. Okay, so 3x will be your common factor. And I'm left with 3x here. And 3x is completely taken out. You must put 1 here. Don't leave it blank. Because 3x times 1 is 3x. Okay. So I'm going to give you some time to do these problems by yourself. If you want to ask a question, you can just call out. Okay, I'll leave on the microphone and everything. Okay, get to work for a while. It's 8:27. So let's say 15 minutes. And see if you can finish them. If you can finish them, let me know. Okay, you can send a message or you can call out. Okay, so get to work and I'll let you work for a while. I'll leave that there. Okay. Okay, so this is your, you don't have to give me this, but it's a good idea to practice and try and understand today, because I'm only going to give 1 sheet a week now, but it could be quite a long sheet because I want to cover lots of things. Okay, on you go. So it'll be just like a normal class. I talk a bit and you work a bit. So hopefully you're not too sleepy. And I'll send you the file with all the solutions. So if we can't check every answer, I'll send you the answer anyway later on, because I've done all of these myself already. Okay, so just finish the question you're on, and I'm going to talk about a few of the answers so you can watch here now. Okay, I'll do a few and then we'll just use up the rest of the time because there's only 10 minutes left. So we've got 10 xy squared plus 15x squared y. So if you're looking here, you've got 10 and 15. So a common factor would be 5. So we're going to have 5. We've got an x here. We have an x squared here. So take out the lower power, which is the x. We have a y squared here and we have a y. So take out y. So 5xy here would be your common factor. So you can check question C now. Whatever I don't do on the board here, you can check when I send you the solutions. So that means this must be 2. The x has come out already. We are left, we have a y squared. We have a y already come out. So then we must have a y here. 5 times 3 is 15. We took out an x. We have an x squared, so there's still 1 x left here. The y has already been taken out. So the y is gone here, like that. So hopefully you got that one right. If you have any question, just ask. Okay, so question E, that was here. So 30x cubed y plus 35 x squared y squared. common factor would be 5, isn't it? 5 6s are 30, 5 7s are 35. We have an x cubed here. We have an x squared. So the lower power is the x squared. So take that out. We have a y squared and a y. Y is y1. So take out y1, the smaller power. We would be left then with 5 times 6, 30, x squared. We have an x cubed, so there'll be one x left, and the y has come out. Plus 5 7s are 35. The x squared has come out, so then we are left with 1y here, like that. So just multiply out and check you are correct, and you can do that yourself. Question L. Okay, so this one here, these other questions are done the same way. So you try them and then you'll get the answer later. So we've got root 8. So maybe you're a bit confused about these roots. X cubed, y4. So you should probably watch this one if you're still working. Root 12, x squared y. So now for your roots, there's a rule here for surds. These are called surds, S-U-R-D-S. So if you've got a number root AB, that can be written the same as root A times root B. So for example, if you had root 16, which we know is 4, isn't it? You could write that as root 4 times 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. And then you can split it to the two separate numbers. Root 4 times root 4. Root 4 is 2, root 4 is 2, 2 2s are 4, same. Okay, so this rule is very useful when you're doing surds, which is not much in the curriculum for grade 9, but I think I'm going to need to talk about this more later. There's some things that are missing in the curriculum we really need to do. So if you look here, you've got root 8. Well, root 8 is root 4 times root 2. And then you've got x cubed, y4. What's root 12? Well, 4 3s are 12. In the same way, root 4 times root 3 is root 12. That's quite handy. So root 4 times root 3 is root 12. You can check on your calculator if you don't believe me. Okay, so in this case, your root 4 will be one of the common factors. So then we're going to have root 4 at the front, which is going to be 2 later. You've got an x cubed and an x squared. The lower power is x squared, so take out x squared. You've got a y4 and a y. Y is the lower power, so take that out. Okay, so this is your common factor, root 4, x squared y. Just move that up a bit. So root 4, you've got a root 2 left. You've got x cubed and x squared, so there's an x. There's an x left. You've got a y4 and a y. So now you've got a y cubed left here. Okay. And then you've got a root 3 here. You've got x squared. X squared is gone. It's out already because it's in the front. Now you've got a y and a y. So then your y is gone as well then. Like that. Is that correct? If not, let me know. Call out or something, or send a message. So then you can probably easier to write that as root 4 should be 2, shouldn't it? So change this to 2 x squared y, root 2x, y cubed, plus root 3. So let's check 2. Okay, so x squared, x cubed, y cubed, y4, and x squared y. Okay, looks okay, that one. So that's question L. How about Q? Because we've got 3 minutes left. So I'll show you Q quick. A2n plus 2 plus a squared. So actually for this one, this is a plus. So we can actually separate that to A2n times A2. Okay, because when you multiply, we add the power here, plus a squared. Now this one, I would change that to, well, a squared is the common factor, actually. A squared will be common. So you'll have a squared, a2n plus 1. A2n, we can't do anything else with that. Okay, so that would be your answer for Q there. Okay, so I'll leave that page open. You can copy those. Any questions? Anyone? No problem? Okay, because the time is going to expire very soon. We got 2 minutes. So if you have any questions, let me know. But what you should do the rest of the day for the maths is just try to finish them yourself. And then in the evening, I'll send you the answers and then you can double check. Okay, so we have 2 minutes left, so you can try and finish that yourself.